Well, we are getting set to go here with the Super Pole. And our 4 drivers in the Super Pole going to be Naoto Masakura, Andy Moore, Dominic Greiner, and Robert Peach. So Robert made it into the Super Pole.
He did make it into the Super Pole. He was really nervous about it. Even when we were doing our interview, he wasn't sure. And I wasn't sure.
Well, it looks like Robert is going to be the first one up on the stand here for this one. So how this is going to work is these drivers will get some warm-up time. So we've got producer here in our ear explaining things to us. Anyway, as we've got, so each driver will go out for a warm-up session here in this one. And then following the warm-up session, they will go out and run 6 laps, and their single fastest lap will count. Of the 4 drivers, the one that can turn the single fastest lap will be locked in for that second place starting spot. So once again, Robert Peach on the track right now, warming up here in this one. We're looking at our MyLabs track cam. And there we see Robert Peach working his way around. He is still in his warm-up session, and it looks like coming in there into pit lane. He'll top it off. Once again, 6 laps for each driver here in this one. They're going to try to set their single fastest lap here in the Super Pole. The driver out of all 4 of these with the single fastest lap will start second in the main event and lock themselves into a starting spot for the main final. Everyone else will have to go to the semifinals and qualify out of there. Now, your top qualifier for the event this weekend, Dario Balestri, he is locked in to starting first in the final. So he doesn't have to worry about the semifinals or any of the other finals. He goes straight into the main final. Second place will also go directly into the main final, and that is what we're about to decide right now, is who starts second. So Robert Peach on the track right now here in this one. He is under his warm-up laps right now. Robert Peach, the German driver. And here comes Robert Peach working his way around. Oh, Robert getting a little bit loose there. You can see in his warm-up session, they're calling him into the pits now. So he is done with warm-ups. He's trying to find every edge that he can to try and push the car as much as possible. As here he comes into the pits. Robert Peach going to be the first one to hit the track here for our Super Pole. This is going to be an exciting event right here. And there you see in the pit lane, Peach's pit crew there getting set to go, and he is off. Here we go, Robert Peach. He's going to cross the line, and once that, he gets 6 laps, the single fastest lap. He's going for that second place starting spot to lock himself into the main final to compete for that IFMAR World Championship title on Saturday. Here he comes. He is now on the clock. Here we go. Here he comes around for lap number 1, down the front stretch, into the Infinity Sweeper. Oh, gets a bit sideways, pushing a little hard here on lap 1. There you can see, slows up. He tries to gather his composure a bit. So Robert coming out of the gate, potentially pushing just a little too hard. Okay, so lap 1 is in 19.4. Not a good lap for him here in this one. Here he comes back into the Infinity Sweeper. Through the sweeper section he goes, coming back down through the center section now. Beautiful line right there, coming back into the switchbacks. This should be a good lap for him. Here he comes back through the chicane, crossing the line there. 17.9. Robert Peach laying down a fast lap there in that one. 68 miles per hour down the straightaway. Robert Peach laying it down there. Here he comes back around. 17.8 that time, even faster. For lap number 3, again, each driver going to get 6 laps on the track. All eyes on him right now, so the pressure is really on Robert Peach and the rest of these drivers as well. So Peach right now, the only one that has hit the track. 18.0 that time by. His fastest still going to be that 17.8. So as you can see there on the left side of your screen, Robert Peach, his fastest lap is a 17.8. His last lap was an 18.029. Comes around here for lap number 5, 17.836. A new fast lap right there for him. Here he comes back around through the infield section now. Through the S turns and back into the switchbacks. Down that last chute through the chicane, cross the line there. 17.7 as he launches it off the track. And there you can see the crowd cheers. A 17.7 on the last lap. And I think you're going to see that a lot with these guys on the final lap. They've got nothing to lose. I mean, they're across the line. So in that little chicane, they're not going to slow up to make that corner. They are going to go wide open through that corner and do just as he did there and put it into the boards. Infinity Race Report with Tyler Hooks. Let's talk to him.
All right, so obviously those are really exciting for you guys. On that last lap, it seemed like you had pretty much every corner perfect, and you were able to go full speed towards the finish line. Did you know it was going to be that good of a lap, a 17.7?
Yeah, I knew before this was going to be a good lap, so I did put everything inside and just hold on the throttle, and it was a good lap, I guess.
Is it hard to decide whether you should push it towards the finish line or if you should cut that finish line close for the next lap?
You have to know if the lap is really good, then you should go over the finish line. If you don't know exactly, I would not go. But I hope it's good, and yeah, we will see.
All right. Well, good luck. We hope it holds up.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. Robert Peach setting an early fast time here in this one, a 17.7 single fastest lap here for the Super Pole. And heading out on the track now, I do believe this here will be Dominic Greiner. Greiner, you're reigning IFMAR World Champion right now. Greiner obviously taking the win at the 2016 IFMAR Worlds in Italy. There you see the radar coming down the front straight. 64 mile an hour that time here in the warm-ups for Dominic Greiner. Greiner, we know all 4 of these drivers that we've got here trying to fight for that second place starting spot on the grid in the main final. They all have the speed, the talent, the potential. It's all going to come down to whether they can put a single fastest lap together here in this 6-lap run here for the Super Pole. Robert Peach, he has set a pretty tall order, in my opinion, with a 17.762 lap. The German driver driving the Mugen Seiki car obviously right now leads the Super Pole as he is the only driver that has put in his time. Here comes Dominic Greiner, though. Fellow driver from Germany. Greiner driving the Serpent car. So he's going to be running his warm-up laps right here. And as we're all getting checked in here, you can see the other drivers down there in pit lane as well, Masakura and Andy Moore, watching closely. As we start with Robert Peach, next this will obviously be Dominic Greiner. Then next up will be Andy Moore, and the last to go will be Naoto Masakura. Well, this is quite the exciting way to finish out the day here of qualifying for the IFMAR World Championships here at Homestead. Our live broadcast this weekend brought to you by Maxima Infinity, AbsoluteHobbies.com, live time scoring, racing time watches, Pico America, and My Laps. As you can see, the sun is starting to set here in Miami, Florida. Beautiful weather so far here this weekend. And Dominic Greiner going to be coming into the pits this time around. And he is in the pits. They're going to top it off, making sure the car is all good. See Greiner there working with his mechanic. And the car is down, and he is off. So he will cross the line and get 6 laps after this one. Here he comes back around through the chicane, cross the line. All right, here we go. Lap number 1. He's on the clock. He drifts a bit wide into pit lane there on that one. Coming back around the Infinity Sweeper. Coming back through now. He's going to be pushing hard on lap number 1. Here he comes. Oh, diving to the inside. Catches that inside curb just a bit. An 18.8. Not a good starting lap there for Dominic. However, we saw the same thing happen with Robert. The first lap, it was like Robert was just pushing it, trying to see what the edge was, and once he found that edge that he could push it to, he didn't want to go over that edge, and that's when he laid down that 17.7 on the final lap. And a 17.8 that time by for Dominic Greiner. So Robert Peach still right now leading our Super Pole. Here comes Greiner coming back into the infield now through the sweeping section. Now into the S-turns. Down the backstretch he goes into the chicane by the finish. An 18.2 that time. So Greiner 3 laps into this one. Here comes lap number 4 now. Oh, Greiner makes a mistake. Pushing just a little too hard. Uh-oh. He holds up for just a second, trying to check and make sure the car is still good. Here he comes. He's gathered himself a 22-second lap on that one. Here he comes down the front stretch. Greiner, your defending IFMAR world champion. Oh, smooth lines right there through that section. This right here is going to be a fantastic lap for him if he can hold it together. Look how tight he's got the corners. Here he comes through the chicane, wide open across the line. Wow, still an 18.0. I really expected that one to be a faster lap for Dominic Greiner. However, still not making the mark. His fastest so far is 17.8, which is not enough to top Robert Peach right now. 17.8 on his final lap, a 17.884. That is his fastest. However, not enough to top Robert Peach. So Robert still on top right now here in this one. Robert Peach leading our Super Pole. Coming up next will be Andy Moore. Send it down to Tyler Hooks with Infinity Race Report.
Tyler Hooks here with Dominic Greiner right after the Super Pole. Unfortunately, you weren't able to beat Robert Peach. Was it just something with the car or just not feeling comfortable?
Yeah, the balance was completely different to the run before, so now I was a little bit pushing and I was a bit too nervous and made all the mistakes. So, yeah.
Do you think it has to do with the sun going down at all, or?
I don't know. Maybe the sun or the track or the tires. Something was different. So. Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best getting ready for the semifinal.
Well, as you can see there, Dominic Greiner, you can tell, disappointed. He was unable to make it happen in that one. He's still got the semifinal to go, though. So right now, Robert Peach, he is waiting anxiously, I'm sure, on the sidelines, along with the crowd of people that has gathered here. As you can see, the lights are on. Another thing about this is the first time under race conditions that we have been on the track with the lights on, the sun going down. So as Tyler mentioned there, the sun is setting, the track is cooling down, conditions are changing. So the Super Pole here is definitely, it's got some difficulties and some obstacles that these guys haven't yet faced throughout the week. Now we're looking at Andy Moore. Andy Moore, the Infinity driver out of the UK. Andy Moore put in some fantastic run, was a top qualifier in round number 3 yesterday. He put in a couple second places, I do believe. Andy Moore under his warm-up session right now here in this one. As he heads down the front stretch here, still through the warm-up sessions. You know, another thing that we noticed was Robert Peach, in his run headed down the front straightaway, he reached 68 miles an hour. Greiner on that one was only reaching somewhere in the 65 to 66 mile an hour range, which doesn't sound like much, but you're only talking tenths of a second, and that is all they were separated by. So as you can see, Andy Moore now with the Infinity in the pits. Looks like they're making a quick change here. Perhaps leaning that engine out just a little bit, trying to get a little more power out of it. He's only got to run 6 laps. as they're working their way back around here. I believe Moore may have a little extra time of warm-up. Yes, indeed he does. So he was just making a pit stop there. I think he's got 1 minute left in his warm-up sessions. So another 65-mile-an-hour run there for Andy Moore. So Robert Peach, the only one to reach that like 68-mile-an-hour range so far. You can see the IFMAR officials watching very closely here as Andy Moore is in the pits. They're topping him off with fuel.
When Andy goes out, this is going to start his 6 laps.
There, it looked like they are riching something up there on the car.
Andy Moore heading out back out on the track to start his 6-lap run here.
And here we go. This is going to be it this time around. He's going to start his 6 laps as he works his way around. Through the switchbacks he goes. And Andy Moore on the clock now. Here we go. Andy Moore, lap number 1. Down the front stretch he goes. Moore coming through the infinity sweeper back into the infield now. Coming back into the infield section, into the S-turns. Lap number 1. I do not expect lap number 1 for any of these guys to be their fastest, but that's a pretty solid lap number 1 there, an 18-1 for him. Now, we did see Andy Moore. He was one of those drivers early on in his races. His first couple of laps were his fastest. So here he comes once again. Andy Moore, also a driver that does not seem to give in to pressure, and he's trying to make that play into this right now with an 18-1, trying to not think about all the extra pressure that everyone is watching, and he's the only driver on the track. So right now, Robert Peach is your leader of the Super Pole. Dominic Greiner finished up with a 17.8. Andy Moore just clicked off an 18.072. 3 laps into this one, so he's got this lap and 2 more to go. Here comes Andy Moore now, back around. 18.039, his fastest, but still he's got to get down to that 17-second lap range. Here he comes for lap number 5. And he is pushing hard here in this one and crosses the line. This is going to be his last lap here at 18-1 that time by. Down the front stretch he goes, trying to gain as much time as possible. He's pushing hard, sweeping around. Oh, I do not know. I don't think he's going to get it. It's going to be close. Here he comes down through the chicane section, wide open, crossing the line there. And an 18-1 for Andy Moore. So that is not going to be enough. So Robert Peach, we talked to him, Tyler talked to him before the Super Pole, and he wasn't even sure he was going to make it into the Super Pole. 1 competitor left to go, and Robert Peach may be taking the win in Super Pole. But coming up next is going to be Naoto Matsukura. In the meantime, let's send it down to Tyler Hooks.
Tyler Hooks here with Andy Moore post the Super Pole. I know that's not quite what you were looking for. Is the track different now that the sun's kind of going down?
Yeah, my car is way too stable. I didn't have any steering, so yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what we heard from Greiner as well. He said his car felt super different. So we were wondering if that's playing a role in it, if the sun going down, it's doing different things.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you've got a more aggressive car, you can go faster now. Mine was pretty good when it was a hot condition, but now, yeah, not much I can say. I didn't have enough steering, so.
So you think you're in good shape though for the semifinal, which will probably be when it's a lot hotter
I
outside.
think it should be okay. It's a long race, but we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, well, only 1 competitor left to go in this one. Naoto Matsukura. Now, Matsukura is your second place qualifier after qualifying. However, he's got to defend that position here in the Super Pole by setting the fastest single lap. Robert Peach, who qualified 5th overall, he could instantly jump up into that number 2 spot and secure himself a spot in the final if Naoto cannot beat this 17.7 second fast lap. Naoto, no stranger to being under the pressure here of the super pole as he works his way around. Here he comes back through once again. This is his warm-up session right now. Now, of course, Naoto Masakura driving the Infinity car from Japan. Now, Andy Moore and Naoto Masakura, they drive the same vehicle. However, setups can be very different, that's for sure. So we shall see here whether Masakura, Andy Moore was talking about not having enough steering as the track has cooled down. The sun is going down. The car was too stable, he said. And Naoto driving the same car. Will he have the same issues? Has he adjusted his setup accordingly? Robert Peach, obviously driving the Mugen car. Moore mentioned if you had a more aggressive car, perhaps Robert Peach had a more aggressive setup, and it seems to be working as the track cools off. And there you can see Naoto coming in, making some adjustments and some changes here. And when they're not at the heat of the moment, you can see them using the fuel bottle instead of the fuel gun or the fuel stick that they were using